Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Sam, or Chaotic, and welcome back to another GTA 5 video here on my channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to be doing a buyers beware where basically I warn you guys about a few vehicles from the latest update which was released yesterday, the Southern San Andreas Super Sports Series updates. And basically in this update, although there are a nice selection of vehicles, many of these are what I would consider pretty disappointing for a number of reasons, and that's why I'm making this video, basically to warn you guys, if you haven't bought the vehicles already, to steer clear of these, because unfortunately they are what I would consider a complete waste of money. So let's go ahead then and jump straight into things. I'm going to start things off with the car I'm driving right now in the gameplay, which of course is the Overflood Entity XXR. It is basically a newer version of the Entity XF, which of course has been in the game now ever since day one, back when the game was first released in September of 2013. And in fairness, the Entity XF is an awesome car. It is still one of my favorites in GTA Online, and I think it's safe to say this car we have right now, the new Entity XXR, is a car we've all wanted to see in the game for quite some time, a newer version of that, and in fairness, this car is very good looking as well. I love this car just for its looks, but unfortunately as it stands, its appearance is the only thing that this car really has going for it. If you guys have bought this car already and driven it around, I'm sure you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about, but you haven't even got to buy it to even see what's wrong with this car. You might be able to spot it in the gameplay, and if you've seen other videos on YouTube in the last day or so, you've seen this driving around. It is a very disappointing car in the terms of its speed and performance. In fact, it is one of the slowest cars in the category, both in a straight line and around the track. And with this car being $2.3 million plus upgrades, of course, putting its price well over $2.5 million, it is one of the most expensive supercars in the category, but to be one of the slowest is very disappointing to say the least. But there is a very good reason why this car and many of the other cars in this update are as slow as they are. Basically, with this update, Rockstar has implemented a number of new mechanics and flags into the game which only affect the new vehicles releasing with this update, of course also including the 11 unreleased vehicles as well. And one of those mechanics that Rockstar have implemented has been named Engine Resistance. And basically what this flag does, or this mechanic, it affects the performance and the speed of all 16 of the vehicles from this update, and doesn't affect any other vehicle in the game already. And that's why these cars seem so slow and so disappointing in comparison to what we have in the game already, because these cars have been nerfed or limited straight away. Now hopefully Rockstar will fix this and remove this nerf from these vehicles, but by the looks of things they can only do this by releasing a complete new update to fix this issue. But until then, many of these vehicles, not just the Entity XXR, are what I would consider pretty useless because their performance just doesn't live up to some of the other cars in the categories. Now I'm hoping Rockstar will fix this issue and release an update sooner rather than later, but there's a good chance that Rockstar may not fix this issue until the next update, which won't be until June. And if that's the case, well, pretty much all these vehicles then are useless until then. Which means cars like this one, the Overflood Entity XXR, are already good for their looks, and for a price of $2.3 million plus upgrades, you have to question whether it's worth it. And it's also worth bearing in mind the Entity XXR is also a rear-wheel drive car as well, not an all-wheel drive, which obviously affects its acceleration off the line and its handling. So for the time being, the Entity XXR is a car I would recommend avoid buying until the performance issue is fixed, and it's very much the same with the Cheval Typhoon. This car is also a supercar. Personally, I really like it. I think the appearance of this is really nice, but it's one of those cars I feel that some players will love and other players will hate. The appearance is certainly an unusual one, and like I said, I kind of like it, but I know for a fact there'll be one or two of you guys watching who won't be so sure. And in fairness, that rear end on this car is a very unusual one. There are one or two things I don't like about it, like the license plate being to the right and off-centered. It does really annoy me, and I kind of wish there was an option in the custom shop to remove the license plate completely, or at least move it about, but unfortunately there is no option for that at the moment. And speaking of customization options, although this car does have a few more than the Entity XXR, which has a very few, there aren't really many customization options available for this either. The ones which are available are very limited. And this car costs $1.98 million, so the best part of $2 million, but it's even slower than the Entity XXR all because of the new gaming mechanic, and as you guys can see in the gameplay, it just feels and seems extremely slow, both accelerating when going around corners. Even when it gets up to its top speed, it still doesn't feel that quick. In fact, this car is one of the slowest in the category. There is only one slower than it in the supercar category, that being the Bullet. But whereas the Bullet is just $100,000 and has been in the game since day one, this is a brand new vehicle only released yesterday and costs almost $2 million plus upgrades. So again, if you're looking to buy this car for its performance, maybe for racing and stuff like that, well, this car definitely isn't one I would recommend buying. It's one of those things which for the time being, until that performance issue is fixed, then again, it's a car you should probably steer clear of and save your money on until Rockstar do get that issue fixed, because you're only going to be buying this car for its appearance. And I can assure you guys, at some time down the line, most likely in a couple of weeks' time, Rockstar will be offering a discount on this, as they always do so in the special events a few weeks after the vehicles have been released, and if there's a time to buy it, well, then would be the time. Oh yeah, and before I forget, this car's handling is also pretty bad too. Despite the car being an all-wheel drive car, you'll notice in the gameplay it has a very wide turning circle and requires a lot of space to go around the corners, so it often means you have to brake hard and reduce your speed significantly if you want to get around some of the corners, and with this car having such a slow acceleration rate, it just makes this even worse. Now, although hopefully Rockstar will fix the speed side of things, the handling is one of those things that Rockstar won't be changing as far as I'm aware of. So by the looks of things, this car is never going to be one of the top supercars in the category, despite its price of $2 million. Anyway, moving on though to car number 3, this of course being the Hotring Sabre. And straight away, there'll be many of you guys watching this video right now questioning why I'm featuring this car in this video, because for a number of reasons, it is kind of cool and unique. Well, at first I wasn't really too sure whether I should feature this car in the video for the simple fact that it is kind of unique. We haven't got any other NASCARs in game, so for that reason alone, you could argue for that reason alone it's worth buying. But there are also one or two things I would say about this car which, again, are maybe a little too disappointing to make this car worth getting. So for starters, its buy it now price is $840,000, which, in fairness, for this isn't too bad. I thought Rockstar would charge maybe a little more than that for this car, especially seeing how special and unique it is. But unfortunately, again, because of the performance issue with this update, it's pretty slow to its top speed. And although its top speed isn't too bad, to actually get there, it will take you quite some time. Then there's this car's handling. Now of course, with this being based upon a NASCAR, it's kind of safe to say that this will not have the best handling in GTA Online, and this car's handling is pretty bad, as to be expected. But again, it's just one of those things that's worth bearing in mind when you buy this vehicle. It's not going to be the best to use in free roam. Then in terms of its customization, well, unfortunately, there are no unique customization options available for this apart from liveries. And although yes, there are loads of different options in the terms of liveries available for this, none of them in my opinion really stand out and are worth selecting for this vehicle, many of which are just a complete mess and a spam of various sponsors and logos. But like I said, one thing I will say about this car is the fact that it's unique and it's the only NASCAR that we have in GTA Online makes this pretty cool. But again, the performance side of things really lets this car down, and I feel like what Rockstar need to do is fix this issue before I'd recommend buying this to anyone. Because especially for free roam use, there are certainly much better vehicles out there that you can get that are similarly priced or less. Now there's one final car in this video I want to feature that I would recommend avoiding, that being the Fagot Aloha, which is the only classic vehicle that we've gotten so far in this update. And in fairness, if you're a classic car fan, you'll love this one because it is pretty cool looking from standard, but has a load of customizations. In fact, it is the most customizable car in this update as far as I'm aware of. Nearly every panel on this vehicle is customizable, and I myself love customization, and for that reason alone, I do like this car. But as for everything else, it is pretty useless, and if you guys are wondering whether you should buy it or not, personally I wouldn't recommend doing so. Like I said, if you love classic vehicles, then yes, definitely get this, but again, it's one of those things which you'll probably buy, customize and have some fun with for a day or two, but once you put it back into your garage, you most likely won't ever use it again, like many of the classic and retro vehicles we've had in GTA Online over the years. So again, just to emphasize, I'm not saying the Fagot Aloha isn't a great car, because in fairness, it is a pretty cool retro one, but in the terms of having special abilities or anything you guys need to know about this vehicle, apart from a load of customization, then no, this thing doesn't really stand out or offer anything to players who aren't really into the retro and classic style. Anyway, so there we go then guys, with that being said, that's pretty much it then for this video. Those are 4 out of the 5 cars from the latest update, which I would recommend avoiding or not buying for various different reasons. Like I said, the main reason for not buying most of these is the performance issue, the engine resistance mechanic which Rockstar's only implemented with the vehicles vehicles in this update. Like I said, that will affect all the vehicles, including the ones which haven't been released yet, but hopefully Rockstar will fix that and release an update sooner rather than later to solve that issue. The one car in this update I would definitely recommend buying is the GB200. Yes, this car is affected by that new mechanic, but nevertheless it is still a very good car. But despite the performance issue with the vehicles, this one is still great. It is still very quick, both off the line and driving around. It is an all-wheel drive classic rally style vehicle and has plenty of customization as well. So out of these 5, if there's one I'd recommend buying, it is definitely that one. And although yes, vehicles like the Taipan and the Entity XXR are very cool looking in my opinion, until that performance issue is fixed, they aren't worth buying at the prices they're listed at. So there we go then, guys. With that being said, then that's pretty much it then for this video. I of course want your thoughts and feelings on these vehicles. Which ones do you guys like and which ones would you recommend not buying from this update? So go ahead and leave a comment right now. If you guys could also drop a like on this video as well, just like my character is right now in the gameplay, of course do so. It would be greatly appreciated and it helps me out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.